Braden, and today this is going to be the first episode of PHP / web development. So, to begin, we're going to just create a new directory on our desktop. Now, this is assuming you already have a database set up using phpMyAdmin, and assuming you have a web server to host it on with PHP 5 installed. This will be a simple login and register method. So let's go in our folder and we're going to create a new PHP file. Actually, let's start with an index. Or actually login.html. And then we're going to make a register.html. And then for our PHP files, just to make it simple, we're going to do login.php. You can, if you really wanted to, you could put the PHP and the HTML in the same class. So instead of having a login.html, you'd put it in login.php. But just to make things simple, we are not going to be doing it like that. We're going to just be using individually separate files. Register.php. Oops, daisies. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in our index class. Let's open up our, let's actually close out of all these first. Okay, so we're going to drag all of these into our Sublime text. So let's go ahead and go into our login and let's create our HTML tags. Actually, let's do doc type HTML. This, you don't have to have this, but it's good to use it. It's good practice. And same goes with HTML. Sorry for my cough, I'm a little sick. And now let's create a form, and we're going to do action is equal to post, and we're going to do method is equal to login.php. Perfect. So now for our form is where we are going to be putting all of our login credentials, where we're going to type it in, like the text box and the submit button. So for our login, we are going to create input type is equal to text, and we're going to do name is equal to username, and we're going to do ID is equal to username. Once again, you don't have to do the name and ID, you can just use one or the other. However, it's good practice to use both. Okay, and we can go ahead and do the same for password. But instead of doing text, we're going to type password, so that instead of it showing as plain text, it shows as the little dots or stars or whatever. We're going to do that, and right here we're going to do button type is equal to submit. This is going to submit our form to login.php, so we can do /button, and that should be there. Sign in. Let's go ahead and test it, see what it looks like. This is what we have: username, password, sign in, and this will submit it to our system. Great. As you can see there, we had a bit of an issue. Let's go ahead and check. Here it is. Oh, I got these mixed up, sorry. It's been a while. Login.php. So your action is what class you're going to be calling, and your method is going to be how you're calling it. via get or post. So we're going to use post. Post means the user does not see it in the URL. If you use get, then it will show up in the URL like this. You don't want that. Okay, so now that we have this fixed, this is why we test things. We go ahead and go back, and it submits it to there, and it doesn't say it in the URL. So this part is done. We can break these two. Yeah, we can just break those, and then it'll be like that. Username, password. We can even put username. Actually, do placeholder. Username. Okay. Username, password, and sign in. So now that we have our login done, we can copy this code, go over to our register.html, paste it in here, and now this is pretty much the same, but we're going to do sign up instead. And some things that we might want to do are add some features. So we're going to do a username and then full name, or just first name. We can put name here and here, and right here we're going to do first name. Perfect. Closed it. So now if we go here and we go to register, we have all of our fields, and then if we do sign up, it takes us to login, but we're going to change that to register. And same with our post method. And now for the PHP code. Oops. So let's start off with our register. So whenever you're doing this, you can memorize it, but it's good practice. This is what I do sometimes. w3schools.com. Come here, scroll down, go to PHP, scroll down to database, find insert data, and this code right here, you can copy this, paste it in here, and now this is where we put in the server credentials. For a username, we're going to put root. This is all depending on how you have your database set up. This one's password doesn't have a password. So if we go into here, we're going to create a database and we're going to call it users. Now that we have our users database created, we can go in the database and then we can put users again, and we're going to put 3 columns because we have our first name, username, and password. So let's go ahead and put those in there, and we can do username, name, and password. Let's go ahead and go here, here, and here. Now let's do 128, 128, 128. Now in production you would want a primary key. So if we just add one more after this, just put ID and leave that as an integer, put that at 11, and come over here to AI auto increment. So for each user it's added, they get their own specific ID. Okay, so now let's go make our register code. So now right here we're gonna put users. I'm pretty sure that's what the database name is, users, and users for our table. Insert into users, we're going to put in our, okay, so let's start and make some variables. So we're going to do username is equal to $_get, and we're going to get username as it's submitted, If we go to register.h, oh, this is a problem. Password, don't do that. I don't think I made this mistake in the other class, did I? So, in the register class, you're going to want to go back to go to line 9 and name an ID. You need to change the password, and the same goes for this file. Whoops. Okay, so now that we have those two fixed, we can go in our register code. We're getting our username, our name as in the first name, and just make this name, and then we're going to do our password. Now this is where things are going to get kind of weird. We're going to use MD5. MD5 is a compression method, or not a compression, an encryption method. So the way it works here, we're going to call this password pre, and then underneath it we're going to do $password, and we do password is equal to MD5. MD5 is the encryption method we're using, and we're going to put $password pre. So now password will give us the MD5 encrypted password of the user. This makes it so at no point will we ever know the user's password except for the MD5. So right here for our username, we're going to do username, and then over here we're going to do name, and then password. And then for our ID, we're going to have that to null, but that's something else. So right here, we're going to put $username, then we're going to put $name. There are other ways you can import variables into a string. You can break the string and add them, but this is a cleaner, more efficient way to do it. And then we're going to use password, and we're going to put null for our ID, so the auto increment does everything it should. And we're going to type user added, and then we're going to spit out an error if there's an error. So now we can try this out. If this is linked to register.php, yep, it is. Let's go here, let's go to register, let's type Braden. Actually, let's do Braden 5252. And let's type Braden, and password, let's put apples with a capital A. Submit. It's sending us straight to register.php because we are not using PHP 5. So in order to do PHP 5, there are multiple ways you can do it with your web server. When you have it on the web server, that's not a problem. So let's go back to register again, and let's type in our username, and let's type in Braden and apples. Now when we submit that, you see we have an error on undefined index 14, 15, and 16. Register 14, 15, and 16. Now the problem that we're getting the get method is because these register things are post. Now you may be thinking, oh, he's messing up a bunch. No, I'm doing this on purpose. This is totally planned, just so you can understand the difference. Totally planned. So let's go here and change all these to posts. This is the difference between post and get. So now if we go here again and we resubmit our form, it's loading. Let's try and import it into the database, I believe. Let's try it again though. Apples. Nope. User added. So now if we go into our database, which is right here, and we go into here, we see it added these. I don't know why we needed so many of them. Let's see what the problem is now. So in here, post password pre is get the post of. Right here, we missed a $sign. Hopefully when you were copying this down, if you have any knowledge of PHP, you would have fixed that. Like I said, this is 100% scripted. Just kidding, I messed up. So now if we go ahead and delete this from our database, we go here and we resubmit the form. Go here, wrong thing, go here. Then we should have this MD5 encrypted password, which is APPLES. I don't know how to spell apples. So now let's work on our login. So now for our login, we're going to go back to W3 and we're going to find select data. We're going to go ahead and copy this whole example right here. And let's go ahead and go here, go to login, paste this. We can go ahead and copy this code for our server credentials. And we're going to do select star from users. Star is all variables from users. Users where username is equal to Braden 5252. Now before we test this, we need to test it. That was condescending. Let's go here. In here there's a great thing called the SQL thingy. If we just paste our thing in there, press go, if it decides to load, it will say Braden 5252. So this select is selecting Braden 5252 out of our whole list of all kinds. So if we had a bunch of other usernames and we did select where username is equal to Braden 5252, only this one would pop up. So if we go here and edit this again, and we do and our password is equal to, and then we'd have to copy this because you can't, this is MD5, and we can convert the user's input to MD5 from our it'd just be and. I'm getting rusty nowadays. Password is equal to that. Go and see, now it finds our password and our username. So we're going to go ahead and copy this from our PHPMyAdmin editor. We're going to go here and we're going to replace this. Now we are going to go into our register class and we can copy the username, and then we can go back into the register and we can copy these two password lines. Okay, we're not using the name because this is the login. Okay, and when they log in, it's going to take them to a screen and it's going to say hello and then their name to prove that they've logged in, and it's pulling data from our database. So if we go in our register, we can check this as get as our method. So now if we go in here, let's go ahead and for our username, let's type $username, and for our password, we're going to do $password. Perfect. And now right here, we can just do, we're going to echo out hello, comma, and then use a dot to add two strings together. So if you did this, it would echo out a string on screen that'd say hello, comma, DD. It's separating these two strings and adding it together. So we're going to do, get rid of those, we're going to do dot, then we're going to do $row, and then we're going to type name. This is going to be getting the user's name from the column where the password matches and where the username matches ones in the column. Then we're going to do, so it's going to say hello name, and then we're going to say how are you? Okay, then right here it's going to say no users with provided login. Okay, so now if they type in a username that doesn't exist or a username with an unmatching password, it'll say no users with provided login. So if we save these and just briefly look over the code, we go here to login.php. Oops, we need to go to login.html. Okay, and if we type Braden 5252 and apples, it says hello Braden, how are you? It gets that my name is Braden from the database, and if we really wanted to, we could get our ID number, and that would be very simple. We could say your ID is, then we can add $ row, and then we can do ID. So now if we go back to our register, resubmit our form, it'll say your ID is 4, and as is in the database. Okay, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Sorry there are a few errors in there. Maybe that helped you understand and find errors. I don't know. But thanks for watching. Check back later for more videos. I'm gonna be doing the AI series within a few days, and then I will be doing the next section of PHP development. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, and share.